Dura just said the rest week or the rest period came at probably the right time. Is that your feeling as well?
Yes and no. Sometimes it's better, after the last couple of games to try and rectify it as soon as possible. So probably from a coaching point of view, you'd want to get the other one or the next one in a little bit quicker to try and fix those problems. But in saying that, on the flip side, it gives you an opportunity to try and fix things and change things and find solutions, to the problems that we've got.
And in terms of finding those solutions, are you confident that in that time period you've had since the last two results that you are going to be more confident, better results on Saturday?
That's the plan. That's the plan. We're always confident. Like I said, there's a big buy-in from the players in terms of who we are, what we want trying to achieve, and we're still trying to work on that. We're developing on that. It's a long process, and there's no quick fix. There's no magic wand, and I completely understand that. And we're going through a bit of a moment right now that many other clubs go through. Not just us. It's a hiccup along the way, and like I said, we're working extremely hard to fix those problems.
You mentioned maybe the Melbourne game was a little bit too defensive on reflection. Is that something that just materialised as the players are out on the pitch, and that was their default kind of setting, or was it a bit of a defensive mindset going into the game?
No, I think we've been very clear on who we are, what we want to do, and like I said, the players have bought into it as well. So first and foremost, we want to be a hard team to beat. And when we opened things up and had this conversation with the players, they've played a certain brand of football that probably hasn't worked, and they've all agreed that this is the best way in terms of the progression and our development to start off. We can be better. The last two games, if you really want to look at it, and we conceded after having chances, and we've conceded after 8 and 11 minutes, and it does put you on the back foot somewhat. But it's not that we haven't created chances thereafter. Melbourne City played really well against us, and you can't deny that. They've got a quality squad, and like I said, we are looking to change things and obviously that situation and make sure we don't find ourselves in that situation again. But you don't want to compare yourself with anyone. But we are playing a different system than what a lot of teams play in this competition. So I think it's pretty brave to play a different system altogether. You're so used to playing a certain way and seeing teams play a certain system or the same system. We're trying something different. And the only other team that I can see playing like that is Perth Glory. And Perth Glory have got a pretty good side there. They've got a very, very, very good coach as well, and no different to us. If you want to compare stats, they're actually the same as us. They're on top of the table with less possession than anybody else in the league. So, it's very easy to compare apples with oranges, but compare apples with apples, I think that's also important to have a look at. But we are who we are. We know what we're about, and the good comes with the bad. And like I said, we're working hard to try and find solutions.
Sort of Perth been able to do that, you guys have to get to the top table, I suppose.
Well, they haven't conceded first yet. Going back to our conversation, so you don't know exactly how they're going to react to that kind of situation. We've seen how we are. We're working on our mentality as much as anything else as well. I think it's important to stick to the game plan with us too. It's very easy to change just like that, but we're very, very solid and strong in terms of our mindset and who we are and what we want to do. And like I said, you can go and flip very easily, but that's not what we're about. We've continued down this path, and like I said, there's a buy-in in that. But look, like I said, Perth are different. Without me having to tell you, Liam, it's a different situation at that football club than it is here, right? So, but in terms of the systems, like I said, and another team that's playing like us, whether it's defence-minded or counter-attacking football or a different system, it's. It is what it is, but we just have to be better at what we're doing.
The standout difference would probably be Andy Keogh, though, right? Isn't that?
Well, he's just one player. They've got some quality players. They've got marquee players, and you've probably heard this before. And they've got a fantastic squad and a great coach as well. A good personal friend of mine, and competition for places is high over there. But like I said, the processes are the same. We do speak to each other, and it's interesting because. You know, he asks about what we do in our formation, and I ask the same sort of questions, and it's what coaches do. You know, we talk about certain things. But I'm at this football club, and my job is to try and get the best out of these players and get results.
So on Adelaide, they've got a lot of pace and skill out wide, good ones to be playing really well to start with.
Yep.
Have you sort of worked on anything in particular with your fullbacks? Your wingbacks, I suppose?
Yeah, we've worked on all aspects of our game, but he's certainly, you know, he's having a fantastic run and deservedly got a call up to the Socceroos squad. He's not the only one. You know, Isaias controls the game for them as well. You know, they've got some pace, as you mentioned, up front, and they're a good footballing side. You know, they're very well organised, very well drilled. You know, they've been together now, you know, and the coach has been there, and they've just won the FFA Cup as well. So, yeah, it's going to be another tough encounter. I say it every week. There's no easy games in this competition, and they're in a good place right now, albeit, you know, they're coming off the back of a loss at home as well. But when you dissect that game, I mean, they had 65% possession. They had a lot of the ball. They had chances. You know, decisions go against them as well. The game can change very quickly, you know, depending on certain situations in the game. So we know how tough it's going to be. Fantastic side, like I said, and yeah, but we're up for the challenge. We're at home, and you know, we want to rectify the situation that we're in right now, Liam.
Did you see anything in what Perth did to them which you can sort of see you do have similar systems?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's something that we showed in the video, you know, to the players. You know, they work extremely hard as a unit. They're very deep when they don't have the position of the ball as well, particularly their front three. You know, and you've got Keo, Economides and Kianese who work extremely hard, and their defence starts from that line. They're very compact in defence as well, and you know, they break very quickly against Adelaide, who play a high line as well. So there's enough there that we had a look at to say, okay, there are situations where we can obviously counter their weaknesses, what we believe, and play to our strengths.
Just on the players' mindset, Mark, I mean, it was a pretty positive vibe at the start of the season with the win. And how have the players sort of reacted now to a couple of setbacks?
Yeah, still is very good, very tight-knit squad. Told them it is a process. We are changing the mentality as well. And I'll be the first to tell them if there were situations that I believe weren't right, but it's a very, very tight-knit squad. You know, one loss didn't dampen us. The second loss, you know, the boys are obviously disappointed. We all are, you know, when results don't go away. That goes without saying. We play in a competitive league and the players want to do well this season. But I can't fault their energy. I can't fault, you know, them going out there and their effort and the way they apply themselves every week. And the last 2 weeks have, like normal, they train the house down. They work extremely hard, and it's unfortunate you're not going to be hanging around for the training session. But you'll see, you know, the boys are, like I said, are very together in this, and it happens. You know, every team goes through these moments, and we've got to find a way of getting out of it. And you know, it starts with tomorrow. But I can't fault their attitude and their effort.
Cool, that's fine.
Yeah. Well, one more question. Before the season, you mentioned you quite like to see leadership across the board, even the youngsters, you know, finding their voice. I mean, a couple of weeks into the season, I mean, what's your kind of review on that standpoint? Have the youngsters stood up?
Yeah. Look, the youngsters. It's my job to protect them as well, and the guys, particularly like Libby and Sapri Singh, if you have a look, you know, they had a breakout sort of performances last year. You know, I challenged them. I said, look, people know who you are now, you know, and opponents know who you are, so you need to step up. They're a little bit different, you know. As people, those two in particular are pretty quiet, but you know, we still work with them. It's still a process, and they go through their ups and downs, and they haven't experienced as many ups and downs as, let's say, a Stephen Taylor or Andrew Durante. So they're trying to work through those processes themselves, but we're there to help them as well along the way. And like I said, it's just about, you know, getting their confidence up and telling them, you know, that they're very, very important to this football club and to me as well. So, yeah, for them it's different to the older guys, but the older guys have been sensational. They're the ones that are, you know, keeping things on track here. And like I said, I can't fault the older ones. They've been fantastic leaders, and they keep a lid on things, and then they keep the young boys going as well.